Hey, everybody. Oh, there it goes. Sorry, Rockman was a little slow. Like, come on, go live button. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Free Assange Vigil. I'm Misty. That's Eric. There's a lot to talk about, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. But as always, we need to go through the numbers. As of March 4th, 2022, we have 4,105 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for journalist and publisher Julian Assange. We have 1,058 days since the WikiLeaks founder was kidnapped and trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the UK in exchange for a $4.2 billion loan from the IMF. 422 days since Judge Vanessa Braitzer denied Assange bail just 2 days after motioning for his release in her ruling against extradition. 1,653 days of inhumane pretrial detention for alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz. 1,058 days since the start of the political persecution of Ola Binney. 338 days since drone program whistleblower Daniel Hale pled guilty to one charge under the Espionage Act. 144 days since Hale was transferred to a communications management unit at United States Penitentiary, Marion in Illinois. 942 days of confinement for Steven Donziger, 266 days since hacktivist Commander X was arrested in Mexico and extradited to the United States. And our little sliver of good news, we have 94 days since Craig Murray was released from prison, 263 days since Reality Winner was released to home confinement. She has since been placed on parole. She also got her fancy blue check on the tweeters, if you want to follow her. 721 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning, 471 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond, and we have just 38 days until our protest in DC. So make sure you're making your plans for that now. Yeah, something's not working, Sleepy Josh. Sleepy Josh is creeping, lurking.
What's up? Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Can I just hit?
I'm messing with it.
Okay. All right. So, hi, Eric.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm peachy as ever.
Oh, it's such a fun and happy time to be alive. Everything is going so smoothly. Everybody's getting along. It's a good time.
It's
Sunshine and rainbows.
Yes.
All right. It all works now. I'm hiding myself.
Okay. Thanks. Sleepy Josh is a fucking rock star. Just so you guys know I say this all the time, but Sleepy Josh is a fucking rock star. I am going to once again share his Buy Me a Coffee link because hold on. I cannot talk and type at the same time. I'm not good at that. Because Sleepy Josh is helping us get set up. We just the Assange vigils are now on Odyssey. I tweeted about that. If you could please go over there and give us a follow, I would very much appreciate it. But Sleepy Josh has also been helping. We're going to be self-hosted for all of this stuff. So Facts on the Ground, Bitch, the vigils, all of that stuff. We're all going to be self-hosted because let's be honest, YouTube is going to yeet us at some point, right? Like we're going to get booted at some point. I can't believe we've lasted this long, to be honest. So we will be self-hosted. So we will have websites with all of our stuff available on it. And then we're also obviously on Rockfin, Odyssey. And for now we're on YouTube, but we need to start moving away from YouTube and other centralized platforms as soon as humanly possible because fuck YouTube. So yeah, please go buy Sleepy Josh a coffee. Please and thank you. Let me put that in Rockfin too. I don't know how to do Odyssey chat. I don't know if there is an Odyssey chat. I don't have Odyssey pulled up, I don't think. I don't know how to do that yet. So if you're on Odyssey, then I don't know. I don't know how to chat with you yet. Okay. Oh God, there's a lot going on, y'all. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was just thinking, I'm like, what do we even talk about?
I mean, I guess we should start with I do have some stuff that's Assange related. Stella gave a speech. She accepted an award on behalf of Julian. I want to play that. Chris Hedges gave a really awesome speech at the Belmarsh Tribunal, which I haven't watched in its entirety yet. But I was just like when I was scrolling through to get to the Hedges part, I realized Tom Morello took part. I'm like, hey, wait, that's Tom Morello. I didn't know. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So that's super dope. But I want to play Chris Hedges' speech from that because I heard it was awesome. And it'll be my first time seeing it too. So, but I mean, he really never disappoints. I mean, as far as speeches, he's really good at giving a good speech. But we should probably just go ahead and start talking about the bullshit censorship that is happening right now. Yeah. A lot of my friends just lost their jobs and it's not good. What's happening is very, very bad. I've been ranting about this. I ranted about it earlier on Facts on Friday, because it's bullshit. What's happening is insane. The entirety of where's Rachel? Oh, there you are. RT America was basically shut down. And not only was it shut down, so all of these people lost their jobs, their lives have been upended, but they're all also receiving death threats.
Yep.
So here, I'll pull up. Hold on, can't find StreamYard. There we go. Too many tabs. I'll pull up Rachel's timeline because honestly, okay, so I had Rachel on Facts a while
Rachel
ago.
Blevins,
Rachel Blevins. Sorry.
Yep.
Rachel Blevins from RT. She was the host of Boom Bust on RT America. She's fantastic. So I've had her on my shows a couple times, right? She is the nicest person, really, like just a genuinely nice person, really great, like journalist. She's young. She's, really got her stuff together. And she's getting death threats. So here's one where she said, "I'm heartbroken. My RT America colleagues are some of the most incredible people I have had the privilege of working with. These are real people whose lives are being impacted." And then she, of course, uses the quote, "Journalism is printing what someone else does not want published. Everything else is public relations." She's absolutely right about that. But this is where it gets just ridiculous. Did that come up properly? Okay.
Yes, it did. Okay. Yeah.
I never know if it shares right. Okay, so in the last 24 hours, I have been bombarded with a constant influx of hateful messages and death threats by people who have taken it upon themselves to become offended by a network I've worked for over 3 years. That hate has spread to every profile I have on every platform. This Twitter account is my personal profile I have spent the last decade working tirelessly to build. When I received the Russia state-affiliated media label, I immediately tweeted calling for it to be removed, and I stand by that. I do not speak for Russia or Russian media. Hours later, I deleted the tweet after I received such an overwhelming number of messages and comments from people who don't know anything about me, yet felt the need to go out of their way to spread hatred to the extent that they threaten my life and my safety. If you're one of the people pushing to ban RT and threatening myself and my colleagues, I hope you know that you're not achieving what you think you are. Those who fight to limit the public's access to information have never been on the right side of history. It won't end with RT. And that last sentence right there, I need everybody to let that sink in. Because this isn't going to end with RT. It's not.
No, and I just rewatched a 3-year-old clip from TrueStream Media. I watch a lot of their stuff, and I go back and I watch a lot of their old stuff.
Is that the husband and wife team?
Correct. And yeah, Mel and the guy's name is slipping at the moment, but
I'm terrible at names.
They're fantastic, and I watched a 3-year-old video of theirs earlier. It was either today or yesterday. And it was when Alex Jones got the axe 3 years ago. And then just, same thing in Rachel's tweet there, where it's like, it's not going to end here. And now I think, didn't Rising get some kind of strike?
Yes, I was going to talk about that as well. So this is fun. Rising. Okay. So I don't know if Ryan Grimm has me blocked. He did. Okay, so the funny story about Ryan Grimm. A while ago, he's never liked me for whatever reason. I don't know him, but he's never liked me. He's come at me at quite a few times. He's sicked his supporters to come after me a couple times. But there was a time where I don't even remember what the beef was about that particular time. But he blocked me, talked shit about me on his timeline, and then unblocked me. Like, what is happening here? He's a grown-up. This is a grown-up that does that.
That's some cowardly bullshit right there.
It is some cowardly bullshit. But I don't like Ryan Grimm, but Rising should not be censored. That's ridiculous. It is kind of funny to watch him freak out about that. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so let's see. I guess we'll just go with the most recent tweet that he has about it. Okay, so oh my god, too many tabs. Sorry, guys. Really, I have probably 14 tabs open right now. It's a little hard to navigate.
While you're pulling, you got it. Okay,
I got it. Sorry, I'm fast. Speed demon. Okay. YouTube knocked a show I co-host off the air, claiming that I pushed the idea Trump actually won the election. Their nonsense is just cover for a toxic business model. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Really? Ugh.
And was it now? I get confused with my my not so independent journalist media personalities once in a while. But was it Ryan Grimm who had posted something about this, and then someone else may have replied? It may have been you, it may have been somebody else about like, yeah, we've kind of been talking about this whole censorship thing. Where have you been this whole time? And now that it's affecting you, you know, kind of like what exactly what was on that True Stream Media video I watched, where it was just like, it ain't going to end with Alex Jones.
No, of course not. And Ryan Grimm, to his credit, is fantastic on Assange. He covers Assange on a regular basis. But he doesn't really ever speak out against the censorship that's been happening. He doesn't come to the defense of, I've never seen him come to the defense of anybody else who's ever been censored. Maybe it's out there. I don't know. I don't really follow Ryan Grimm that closely. But yeah, he's never really been somebody who speaks out against that kind of stuff. And in fact, has on multiple occasions insinuated that somebody should maybe be censored because they're anti-vax or they're whatever. You know what I mean? I know that he's gone after Convo Couch a couple different times, in particular Fiorella. So yeah,
that may have been who was like,
it was
hey,
probably
where have you been?
Fee. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think that's what it was.
He has come after her he's come after me too, but anything that I get, you can take that multiply it by like 5 or 10, and that's what Fiorella gets from the you know what I mean, the same people.
Yeah.
So he's come after Fiorella pretty hard for whatever reason. He's never really been super like vocal about defending people against censorship, and it is
censorship, by the way. You were correct the first time.
Yeah. But yeah, he can fuck off. I don't like Ryan Grimm.
Yeah.
Here's what makes me mad about Ryan Grimm. Ryan Grimm could be awesome. He could be fantastic. He has done really great investigative journalism. He chooses to be a douche. You know what I mean? It is a choice to work for Pierre Omidyar and to work for The Intercept and to work for The Hill and to be like a milquetoast turd. You know, and I find that very frustrating. Huh?
Yeah. No, it's a very good way. Yeah. Yeah. He's very, what was the character's name that owned Garfield in the comic strip?
John?
John. Yeah.
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 He is very John. Yeah. And I get very frustrated with that because we need good independent investigative journalists, and he has the potential to be that. He's making a choice for his own personal benefit. I feel that's just my personal opinion, to not do that. And it's frustrating. I am very appreciative of the fact that he was gracious and kind to Tara Reid. I love Tara Reid, so I am appreciative that he gave her a voice and a platform. I'm appreciative of his Assange coverage. I will reshare, we'll retweet his stuff when he does his, what's it called? That thing that they do. Radar. The Radar. Okay. Is that right? I don't watch it a lot.
I don't watch it at all. So
I mean, only time I ever watch it is when somebody sends me, "Hey, Ryan Grimm talked about Assange," because people will tweet me that stuff all the time. So, which thanks for doing that, you guys, because I don't watch that show. I wouldn't know. So yeah, I will retweet that stuff every time. And it's funny because my trolls have tried to call me out on that. Like when I go after Ryan Grimm, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, well he covered Assange on this day, and did you acknowledge that?" Yes, actually, yes, I did. Thank you.
Yep,
I
here it is.
That. I sure did.
Here it is.
Yeah, I do that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're my worst fucking enemy. If you talk about Julian Assange and you are trying to help us, I'll retweet that shit every time. Every time. I mean, duh.
Here's something that I don't understand about, the censorship in general, but more specifically RT, since that's so fresh in everyone's mind, is like, let's pretend for a second you were in favor of war with Russia. Wouldn't you want to know what the other side is saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the part that I don't understand is like, why would you want that censored? Like, if there's a legit war and you're in favor of it and this is happening and you're like, look, we have an inside track of what the media is telling on their side of the story. Like, wouldn't you want to know that? I don't understand why you would want that censored.
Because people are dumb, tribalistic, idiot. Just this is pure idiocy. I mean, just even if you don't like Russia, even if you think RT is dangerous propaganda, to think that this stops there and then it's not going to come for the people that you do like is
Right.
just dumb.
And I always go back to the Patriot Act and all the Republicans, trumpeting, saying like, oh, I'm not a terrorist. This will never come back to haunt me. And then January 6th happens and all of a sudden you're a domestic terrorist and boom, Patriot Act, it's coming back to haunt you. It's just, no one can go, well, no one can put that together. Like, oh, I'll never be the enemy. This will never affect me. When it
would just be cool if people could be fucking consistent.
Right.
Just be fucking consistent. I mean, that's what drives me nuts. There's these people out there who, I mean, it's Jordan Chariton's another great example. He called for Convo Couch to be censored, and then he gets censored, and he whines about it. And you don't get to do that, homie. You don't get to call for other people to be censored and then expect me to feel bad for you when it happens to you. I'm still going to fight against you being censored, but I don't feel bad for you. Like, what?
Right.
Stop calling for, and then he drives me nuts because the way he handled it, he would kind of like deflect and deny when he was called out, and Jimmy Dore had to call him out like 2 or 3 different times on 2 or 3 different appearances before he was finally like, okay, I did call for them to be censored, but I was just mad and I was heated on that day or whatever, and he gave like this non-apology apology, and fuck out of here, dude. Like, it's just, I can't stand when people aren't consistent, especially people who are journalists or who claim to be journalists, who are, advocating for censorship. You are dumb. Like, that's just dumb.
Just to think that at some point, like, the tide won't turn and the censorship won't hit like you and your friends and your colleagues and whatever. You know what? This is something I was just thinking about recently. Was this had to have been about 6-7 years ago now that I'm thinking about it, when the whole like Milo Yiannopoulos thing was all a buzz, and he was doing that tour across the country, and then there was like all these like protests outside of the buildings that he was going to be speaking in, and there was all this push for like censorship back then. I think it's about 6-7 years ago now, and like, this is not been a consistent story as far as like headlines, but it's been consistent now for better part of a decade, where this idea of like censorship being like, oh, maybe we should censor this guy and this guy, and then before you know it, it's affecting the Ryan Grimms and the whoever else you just mentioned. Like, it doesn't stop at the guy you don't like, that you don't want to listen to.
No. And okay, so yeah, I've been talking about this for a long time. The attacks on press freedom and free speech have always existed because powerful people don't like when their secrets are exposed. That's
no, I'm not suggesting this was only 6-7 years ago.
No. I'm just saying, like, I talk about this all the time. So that's always been a thing. But in the past 10 or 15 years, it has ramped up exponentially. Really, it started under Obama. I mean, using the Espionage Act more than all other administrations combined against whistleblowers and journalists. That should have been a big red flag for everybody. But that was really kind of where the ramp up really started. I mean, Clinton did the whole Telecommunications Act, and that was bad on every level. I mean, it was, kind of like a steady ramp up. But then Obama was like pedal to the metal, let's go full on censorship. And that's what opened the door for, Trump to kidnap Julian Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy and toss him into Belmarsh. So, but it really has, you're right, it has really ramped up over the past 10 or 15 years. And it's just so frustrating to me. And I'm more frustrated with myself that I can't find the words to get people to understand what is happening and why it's happening, and that it is going to come for the people that you like too. I'm hoping that the RT thing will open some eyes. I think it has. I think people who maybe didn't take it super seriously before are now kind of like, oh, whoa, this is a lot. Like, they took down a whole network. But when I still can't believe that, and I am no Trump fan at all. But when a sitting president is wiped off the internet, that should have been a moment.
That's a bone chilling moment. Because immediately my thought was like, these guys are all in favor of it until it's their guy.
Yeah.
And then they're going to lose their shit, just like the Trump people did.
Yes, that's what's so frustrating is that there's no consistency and it's very team mentality. Well, it's fine if it happens to the other guy. We don't care. But if it happens to my guy, then I'm going to throw a tantrum about it and be mad that I can't do anything about it. Well, if you don't do anything about it when it happens to the other guy, you're not going to be able to effectively fight back when it comes for you. So it's just, I mean, just watching this unfold and watching just intense censorship over, I mean, COVID. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ.
Right.
You can't have a conversation. I can't have an opinion. I can't speak my opinion. Like we got a strike for medical misinformation because we did a show where somebody in the chat asked our opinions about getting injected. And I said, well, Jesse and I have differing opinions. I think you should do whatever the fuck you want. Jesse thinks that nobody should get them, that they're too dangerous and that it's bad. And we got pulled down for that. I can't just express my opinion. I can't just say what I think.
That's not medical misinformation. That's literally an opinion.
Yes. But it's you're not allowed to have opinions anymore. You're not allowed to speak outside the lines at all. If you step outside of the approved narrative, they will take you down. And that should terrify everybody. I mean, look at what they're doing right now with Ukraine and the narrative that they're inventing on Ukraine. They want to be your only source of information. Who is okay with that?
That obviously these morons, but like someone brought up, and I forget who it was. I should have bookmarked it, but it was like which kind of propagandas felt a little bit more heavy, or I forget how they phrased it, but it was something along those lines. And it was the 2003 Iraq War or this one now with Ukraine, Russia. And without a doubt, I felt this feels way more pressured. But it was a great question. And when I voted, it was like pretty close. It was like 54-46 or something like that. And I thought that's fair. I thought it was overwhelmingly this time around, but I get it because in 2003, that's when the Patriot Act did start. And that's when that whole narrative of you're with us or you're against us. Yeah. Kind of very similar to what's going on now. Right. But it was just the Republicans that were doing it.
Well, I think now it's happening. So I was on Rick Munn's radio show this morning. It's called Locked and Loaded. It's on TNT radio. He's great. I love Rick Munn. I really do. I love him. So you should definitely check out his show. But I was on his show this morning and he used the word velocity. And that is as soon as he said it, I was like, yes, because it's happening so fast this time. Like within 36 hours, they had people turn into bloodthirsty warmongers, ready to go to nuclear war over Ukraine. These are people who 2 weeks ago had no idea what Donbass was, had no idea about the 2014 coup, couldn't point to Ukraine on a map. They
still don't know that stuff.
Yeah, they probably still don't know that stuff. I mean, Patricia Arquette said, "Kick Russia out of NATO."
Oh, I'm so skeptical when I see stuff when it's when I'm to the point now when something is that level of batshit stupid. I'm like, there's no way in hell that's real.
No, I think it's real with her. I think it's real.
There were several confirmations that I got that were like, no, it's legit. And it's just that is some.
Yes, Sleepy Josh. She said, kick Russia out of NATO. Yeah. Hold on. I'll pull it up. Hold on. I have to pull up somebody else's tweet because I'm blocked, but I'll find it. I'm sure somebody that I know has tweeted about it. Hold on.
I mean, just clearly shows you have not a single solitary clue what's happening in the conflict is about at all. At all. All you know is Russia bad, Ukraine good. Obviously that's not, but they're both bad. But that's whatever she's been told, that's all she's been able to retain.
There it is.
Please pull this up.
Kick Russia out of NATO. She said that shit. She tweeted
She must. Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my God.
Right?
Sorry, I had to pop it for a second. That is the dumbest shit I've seen in a minute.
That is the dumbest shit I've seen in a minute.
Yeah. I thought for sure that was fake. I was like, somebody pulled that's funny. Right. And I'm like, it's really her. She had to have deleted it by now, right?
I don't know. I'm blocked.
I'm blocked by her. Yeah, I'm blocked. I'm blocked too. You know
I've
what?
been
I
blocked
do
for
have
a
I have
long
a
time by Patricia Arquette.
I have one of
Just
those
open a
like
private browser window and then you can see it.
yeah, I need to. Yeah, kick Russia out of NATO.
I have an account
God
where
damn it.
I creep on people.
Yeah, creep on her and
I can
see. I have too many tabs open as it is. I'm gonna open
yeah,
up
I
another.
actually have to pull up a different computer because this one doesn't even have that on there for me.
Yeah, but seriously, and Patricia Arquette is one of those people who I don't think if we asked her, could you point to Ukraine on a map? I don't think she could point to Ukraine on a map.
I
I
don't
mean,
know if
she
she could.
thought Russia was in NATO.
I don't think she could point to Texas on a map.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance that that's true. But this is the level of this again speaks to the effectiveness of the propaganda in this country that we have people.
Oh, you get
who,
okay. So I can't pull it up on this computer. You probably won't be able to see this, but
no.
She has a response that's obviously to the flub, right?
Yeah.
Of the one you just posted.
Yeah.
And it's I'm dyslexic. It's in my bio and has been for years. A couple of 14-hour work days later, and I flipped NATO and UN. You will live.
No, she did not blame that on being dyslexic.
I mean, I wish I could. I wish I could share this.
What the fuck?
Dyslexic? Like that has nothing to do with being dyslexic. That's
no
UN and NATO. It would have to be like,
yeah.
I can't believe that's.
She's so full of shit.
Full of shit.
That is 100% full of shit. That is not what happened. She's just dumb, and now she's trying to cover it because she realizes that she's dumb.
And that's how dumb she is. She's covering up with just as dumb of a statement as the original one.
That's like Joe Biden saying, "Yeah, well, I stutter." Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Sleepy Josh says, "Bless her heart." Yeah, you know the thing. Oh yeah. God. But that is typical American discourse. That is the typical American level of intelligence about the world.
I am a 10-time college dropout. And I have a way. Yeah, I've dropped out of college. I'm back in. Just
hey, I mean, props for not giving up. Sticking with it.
Yeah.
I like it.
11 times a charm. I haven't counted, but it's up there.
A lot. Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah. And like I don't know. That's the thing. That was the other thing that really chapped my ass was when I was thinking about returning to school. This is when I was still in the service and thinking about going back to school or whatever. And I would read these like online forums about like life experience and if you can get like college credit for stuff like that. And there was like these back and forth about how like students were saying like you shouldn't be able to get college credit for life experience because some bullshit. I lived in a country during a time where their government was overthrown, and I lived there for an entire year. I experienced the people, the city. I was all over the country all the time. You're telling me that you know more about this being in a classroom than me, who was actually there for a year experiencing it firsthand?
Right.
That's
how it works. That's how that. Oh, and that is exactly the intent. That's why our education system has been gutted. That's why they, like George Carlin said, they just want you smart enough to run the machines. They don't want you to think. They don't want you to question. They don't want you to be aware or cognizant of what's going on in the world around you. They just want you smart enough to run the machines. Just shut up, do as you're told. And we'll take care of things. And that's where we're at in this country. Like that's where we're at. That is where we're at. People have no idea what's going on in the world around them. And within 36 hours, they were turned again into bloodthirsty warmongers because here's what's so fascinating about this. These are the same people who don't give a shit about Yemen, haven't given a shit about Palestine, don't talk about Syria, don't talk about Somalia, don't talk about any of these other places. Libya. And all of a sudden, they suddenly care because they've been told to. They've been manipulated into thinking that they actually care about this. And it is kind of fascinating. It's terrifying because the propaganda game in this country is so unbelievably powerful. I don't know how we fight against it. I really don't. I am at a loss. But it really is fascinating to watch it like in action, seeing these people and they don't even most people don't even realize that they're being led. Like, this isn't something you actually care about. You just care because you were told to,
that's just it. And to add to another layer to what you were just saying was these initial reports that were coming out about Ukrainian people are being attacked, and like these aren't Middle Easterners who are living in a third world. These are civilized. They have Netflix accounts. They look like you and I. Like, whoa, what?
One guy even said blonde hair, blue eyes. These aren't
can you believe
regular refugees. These are blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, wow.
Yeah, and like these are coming from the networks that have been doing nothing but preaching inclusivity, equality, all the
intersectionality and the
all
pronouns,
these buzzwords.
And
and as soon as there's a Russian-Ukraine conflict, these aren't the brown mud people of Iraq or Afghanistan.
Civilized.
These are civilized. This could be you and me. These are Europeans.
Yeah, there's actually. So I was on Socialist MMA's show the other day, and we talked about this. I'm gonna try to. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Duh. But there's a really good Black Alliance for Peace article. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but let's see if I can find. It's a really good article. Oh, hey, hi there. Is this the right one? Yeah, this is okay. So I'm gonna drop this in the chat for you guys because this article is fucking fantastic. And we went through this on Nick's show the other day. And it's really good. But it's kind of it's like a brief history of the situation. And then there's also another one that's like here, the Black radical position on the situation in Ukraine. Because like we're also hearing reports that Black people living in Ukraine are being prevented from fleeing Ukraine. Like, it's just the white people. Sorry, you don't get to get on that train. And it's the racism is just holy balls. You know what I mean?
Where are the refugees even fleeing to? Do you know?
Probably like Germany. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I didn't even think about that part.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's just it's very interesting. Like the just blatant racism.
Yeah,
is so fucked up, and it's so, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Disturbing.
It goes beyond that because of that what I was saying earlier about that whole added, like, just the endless array of these buzzwords for years, just like basically saying like, oh, if you're a straight white guy, you're an asshole just by default.
Yeah.
And then it's like, now worry about Ukrainians because they look like your blonde hair, blue eyes. Like, it's just it's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I mean, Yemen has been getting brutalized. Yeah. I mean, brutalized for years, and these motherfuckers have not had one word to say. Not one word to say. Like, somebody posted a clip from The View, which I only lasted about 34 seconds because Jesus Christ, is that like,
it's unwatchable.
It is unwatchable. I don't know how people even make clips of it. I don't even
either.
When Pam Anderson was on there kicking ass about Julian Assange, I barely cringed through that. It was awful, and they were horrible to her.
Right.
But yeah, like these people, they don't talk about Yemen. They don't talk about Palestine. There's no sanction on Israel. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody cares
talk about
Syria.
Iraq and Afghanistan.
I know. Well, they do now, and they pretend like they were against. Well, obviously it was against you. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these people will try to pretend. And that's exactly what's going to happen here in 5 years when there's some WikiLeaks reveal or whatever that shows that this is all bullshit. And it you know what I mean? It becomes like socially acceptable to have stood against this war. Then people, the Joy Behars of the world will be like, oh, yeah, of course. You know what I mean? That's how it always happens. Okay, so I forget entirely where I was going with this, but Lumpy, my friend Lumpy, on Twitter, you guys, probably follow her. She said, I know it doesn't mean much, but at least I know I'm smarter than Patricia Arquette.
I mean, it's funny and it's worth throwing out there.
Yeah, it just happened when I was scrolling to try to find her. I saw that and I was like, I mean, it's not saying much, but we all have that going for us.
We do. It's the whole like kind of idea of like you watch Maury Povich to like kind of feel better about who you are as a person. Like at least I'm not, on Maury Povich.
Like all that trashy reality TV stuff.
Right.
Like what's the one? Oh, Real Housewives of like everywhere. All that stuff. Yeah. Everywhere. What the fuck? There's so many of those.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
You know what? I'm surprised that Redfish is hanging on because they've been given the label of Russian state media, and they do a good job too. Like they posted on the day of the Ukrainian beginnings of the conflict. They posted a graphic of on the same day of that, or in the last 48 hours, there was a bombing in Syria.
I saw that.
A bombing in Yemen and a bombing in Somalia.
Multiple bombings.
Multiple. And just like proving a point that like you're being told which one to give a fuck about. And just again right over these people's heads because they see Russian affiliated media and they're like, oh,
Putin bad.
Putin bad.
Putin's bad. He's a bad man. He's right there. He's always watching.
Oh wow, I didn't even know you had that.
It's a Halloween mask.
Is it?
Yeah. I went to the Halloween store, right? My kid wanted a Halloween costume. Went to the Halloween store. We're walking through, and they have Trump, Biden, and Putin. And I'm like, and there was only one Putin left. I'm like, obviously, that's for me.
Obviously.
That is for me. So I got it.
Yeah.
And now he's always watching. He's back there always watching. I remember the first time I ever interviewed Kevin Gosztola. He was, okay, so where my cape is hanging right now, he was hanging there instead. So we interviewed Kevin Gosztola. Goes great interview. He does a great job, as he always does. Good Kevin does a great job. And he was like, I have to ask before we end, is that Putin over your shoulder? And I forgot he was back there. Like, I forget what's behind me. You know what I mean? And you know,
and you're like, you're damn right.
I was like, oh, I started giggling and I'm like, yeah, it's a joke. It's, you know, I didn't want to think I'm actually like a big Putin person, but it's just a joke, you guys. It's a joke. I love Putin. Somebody's going to clip that out. Okay. I should have.
I like how you just. I love how you just lean into it. That's my favorite part.
Why the fuck not? I do that with everything. Okay, you want to call me a grifter? I got a shirt that says grifter. You want to call me what else? Clout chaser? I have a shirt that says clout chaser. People said that the trip to DC is just my vacation, so I got a shirt that says vacation mode on it. Yeah. Bring this shit on. I think it's fun. Let's do it. Let's go. That's how I got Mindy money bags. Mindy came from Pasta because Pasta never knows my name. But then the money bags is because one of my trolls is convinced that I'm like super rich. And so we lean into that. That's why I have the money bags. That's why Ray calls them Mindy money bags. I'm into it. I like it a lot. If I were rich, I wouldn't have to fundraise a vacation, fuckers. And I certainly wouldn't choose to go to some Airbnb in some really chancy neighborhood in South DC with a bunch of crazy people to do protests. I would go to a beach. Right.
You'd go to, St. Martin's or something. I don't know. The
Bahamas, Hawaii. Right. I mean, shit, even just like Florida or something. Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach. Right. I would not go to DC on a vacation. It's not a vacation.
I lived in Maryland for 3 years.
Mindy Moneybag does need her own Twitter account. Dude, why haven't I done that yet, Beth? It's a great fucking idea.
You could totally lean into it then.
Oh, dude, I will have so much fun. I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to make that happen, Beth. That's a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. That needs to happen. Wow. That's going to be fun, actually. I'm excited. Okay, so let's see. Let's move on to...
Do you want to do the Hedges speech? Is that what you wanted to do?
We can do the Hedges speech. I have a Hedges speech. I have the Stella speech. I do have an article. It's from The Intercept, which I'm loath to share anything from The Intercept, but it is a decent article and it does give some backstory. So let's start there so I can get it out of the way so I can stop feeling gross about it.
Yes.
Fuck The Intercept. I'm going to open it with that. Fuck The Intercept. If you are a whistleblower or a potential whistleblower, stay the entire fuck away from The Intercept. Don't go anywhere near The Intercept. Fuck Jeremy Scahill. Fuck them all. I have no love for The Intercept. Occasionally, they have a decent article. So that's what we're doing here. They just happen to occasionally have a decent article. So make no mistake about this. I do not support or endorse The Intercept at all. All right, so here we go.
Buckle up.
Yeah. The UK wanted to extradite Julian Assange to the US from the start. In a 2016 meeting, Britain's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs removed the diplomatic mask. Okay, so here we go. The UK High Court ruling that Julian Assange should be extradited to face trial in the United States, a decision that Amnesty International has called a quote-unquote travesty of justice, came as no surprise to me. It's what the UK government always wanted. I know because the British Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs told me. Many pundits and politicians talk of the extradition proceedings against Assange as if they were an unforeseen legal outcome that came about as Assange's situation unfolded. This is not true. My experience as the Foreign Minister of Ecuador, the South American country that granted Assange asylum, left me in no doubt that the UK wanted Assange's extradition to the United States from the very beginning. One encounter I had with Alan Duncan, the former British Minister of State for Europe and the Americas in October 2016, really let the cat out of the bag. At our meeting in the Dominican Republic, Duncan went on extensively about how loathsome Assange was. While I didn't anticipate Duncan to profess his love for our asylee, I had expected a more professional diplomatic exchange. But the most important moment of the meeting was when I reiterated that Ecuador's primary fear was the transfer of Assange to the United States, at which point Duncan turned to his staff and exclaimed something very close to, quote, "Yes, well, good idea. How would we go about extraditing him to the Americans?" End quote. His advisor squirmed in embarrassment.
Does that suggest that he wasn't even thinking about it until he said something?
No, I think that he was just like very much, yeah, let's do that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow. Yeah. You know, this was always the plan. I mean, Julian knew it. People used to call him, "You're crazy, you're paranoid." No, this was always the plan. He knew that. His advisors squirmed in embarrassment. They had spent the last 4 years trying to reassure Ecuador that this was not what the UK was after. I responded that this was news indeed. I then wondered whether Duncan left the meeting feeling he had made a mess of it. I was particularly surprised by Duncan's candor because my June 2016 meeting with his predecessor, Hugo Swire, in Whitehall had been quite different. It's not that Swire wasn't equally contemptuous of the irritating South American country that had granted Assange asylum. It is more that Swire actually knew the case well. Swire stuck to the UK's position. Nobody wanted to extradite Assange to the United States. The Ecuadorian government was quote unquote deluded and quote unquote paranoid. This had nothing to do with the issue of freedom of expression or even WikiLeaks. The case was all about accusations in Sweden against Assange. Ecuador should stop protecting a potential sex offender. So that was Swire's position at the time, who was the predecessor. Events since have demonstrated that the British argument that Assange was quote unquote holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London to avoid facing sexual assault allegations in Sweden was deceitful. I'm gonna repeat that. Events since have demonstrated that the British argument that Assange was quote unquote holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London to avoid facing sexual assault allegations in Sweden was deceitful. All bullshit. The case was always about Assange's publishing activities as the head of WikiLeaks. In fact, my government had made it clear to both its British and Swedish counterparts that if Ecuador received guarantees of non-extradition from Sweden to the United States, Ecuador would have no problem with Assange traveling to Sweden to face questioning. Assange himself agreed to this, but Sweden refused to offer such guarantees, which obviously further heightened Ecuador's suspicions that Assange was being persecuted. Julian was right all along, once again. Had Swire been telling the truth, the Swedish prosecutor's decision not to press charges against Assange in May 2017 would have enabled Assange to walk free from the embassy. The remaining claim that he breached his bail by successfully applying for political asylum should have been easily resolved after the European arrest warrant was dropped. But the UK refused to let Assange slip away, and he remained in the Ecuadorian embassy for 2 more years before a new Ecuadorian government, heavily leaned on by the Trump administration, consented to having him brutally removed in April 2019. Maybe it was simply that Duncan's hatred for Assange, whom he referred to as a, quote, miserable little worm, end quote, in Parliament in March 2018, was too pure to be tempered in our meeting. Duncan's published diary certainly attests to the fact that Assange's arrest became an overriding obsession and eventually a personal trophy. When the time came, Duncan watched Assange's extraction from the embassy, which he refers to as Operation Pelican, which we've talked about on this show before, on a live feed, and later held, quote, drinks in my office for all the Operation Pelican team, end quote. And they all wore stupid little ties with pelicans on it, and somebody got a commemorative plate from the Palace gift shop.
Is there anything more lame than a commemorative plate? I'm just honestly, God, like,
no. Can you imagine? I sold my soul to the devil for a commemorative plate from the Palace gift shop. Oh,
unbelievable.
Unreal. Okay, Duncan's deeply felt disdain for what he called, quote, the supposed human rights of Julian Assange, end quote. The supposed, notice that, are probably part and parcel of his fervent allegiance to the Anglo-American Security Partnership. Duncan served on the UK's Intelligence and Security Committee in 2015 to 2016. He's also a member of the secretive transatlantic organization La Circle, I don't know, an ultra-conservative think tank with strong links to the intelligence community in Europe and the United States. We can only speculate whether Duncan's close relationship with whom he calls his, quote, good friend and Oxford contemporary Ian Burnett, end quote, which is one of the judges, the Lord Chief Justice who gave the green light to Assange's extradition, interfered with the judicial process. But the extradition proceedings have been problematic from the beginning. A coalition of major human rights and press freedom organizations, including Human Rights Watch, Reporters Without Borders, and First Look Institute's Press Freedom Defense Fund, have urged the U.S. Justice Department quote, to dismiss the indictment of Mr. Assange, end quote, on the grounds that it, quote, threatens press freedom, end quote, and marks a precedent that, quote, could effectively criminalize common journalistic practices, end quote. The top editors of the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Washington Post, and others have agreed with these experts. The attempt to extradite Assange to the United States is a clear breakdown of the rule of law, which is continuing in the post-Trump era. The yearn to punish and send a warning to others has been given precedence over human rights, rule of law, and freedom of expression. The persecution must end now. Yes.
One thing that kind of irks me when it comes to Trump and Assange and Trumpers and non-Trumpers and whatever is this idea that somehow Trump was a WikiLeaks guy, was a Julian Assange guy, strictly from this one time in one speech that he gave where he said something to the effect that he likes WikiLeaks or what.
I love the WikiLeaks.
Yeah. Just a weak sauce comment, throwaway comment. And then all it takes is for shit libs and everybody else who are non-Trumpers to go, see, Trump's an Assange guy.
Trump's a Trump guy.
Exactly.
That's it. Trump's a Trump guy, and WikiLeaks was releasing things that hurt Hillary Clinton. And so, of course, he likes that.
Right. And all it takes is that one little soundbite from Trump, and that's all it takes. It's Trump is Assange is a Trump guy or vice versa.
Well, I can also show you a little soundbite where Trump says that Julian Assange should be assassinated.
Right. But that,
You know what I mean?
I'm certain they either have heard it and ignored it or haven't and whatever.
Yeah, it's selective listening.
Selective listening. And then just like that article stated, he was detained when Trump was in office. Mm-hmm. He's been in prison. The
plots to assassinate him took place under Donald Trump. That went up to the highest levels of government, according to all of the sources that, spoke on this. Trump is not any fan or any friend to press freedom, free speech, Julian Assange. Trump is a friend to nobody but Trump, period. He's a narcissist of the highest order.
Yes.
He is not a friend to Julian Assange, never has been. And you're right, though. People do take that one sound bite of, I love the WikiLeaks and pretend like that means that Julian Assange was somehow a Trump guy and that he was trying to help Donald Trump and blah.
And I'm sure there's some dog whistle that I'm not aware of that was also attributed to Trump. I hate that fucking dog whistle term.
Yeah.
You could essentially use that for just about anything. Well, he said this, but what he really meant was this. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And Trump's not smart enough for innuendo. Let's be honest. He's not. He has no gift for subtlety whatsoever. I mean, dude would regularly be like, yeah, we're going to go steal their oil. You know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. He has no ability to know when to keep his mouth shut, when to say things, when to not, how to say. He's not smart enough for that.
No.
That's why they didn't like him, because he was difficult to control. Not because he's, an outsider or that he's working against them in any way. Just he's dumb, and it was difficult for them to like reel him in.
Right.
I think that's the only reason why they didn't like him. Okay, so moving on from that, let me close some of these tabs because holy fuck, there's a lot.
Okay. Misty.
I have been fired up for the last 2 weeks. I'm in a terrible mood. I hate everybody and everything. I keep talking about it. I'm so done. I'm just so over it. I'm so over it. God, I'm so over
Emma and I had a Twitter space last night that we just basically just let all of our.
You guys should come on bitch together. That would be fun.
Yeah, that literally was a bitch episode last night on Twitter Spaces.
I love bitch. It's so great. It's seriously like therapy every week.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I should. You know what? No, this is probably a off the camera conversation, but I should come on because I got a doozy with
I like doozies.
School with the school system around me anyway, and
I'm sure it applies
to. We kind of had that conversation off.
Yeah. No, but you can come on, bitch. You're welcome anytime. I don't think I have anybody scheduled this week. I don't think so.
And I have time this week for you to come on my show.
Okay.
Yeah.
When? This has turned into a production meeting again.
Yeah. We'll do this. We'll do this. Yeah, I know.
We'll do this after.
Camera.
Yeah. Okay. This happens all the time. I'm sure that people who watch my stuff are used to it. All of my shows eventually turn into a production meeting at some point for whatever reason. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that. Again, fuck The Intercept. I just want to make sure that's clear. Fuck The Intercept. That was a good article, but fuck The Intercept. So let's move on to this one from the Future of Freedom Foundation. Ukraine, why the Pentagon and the CIA hate Julian Assange. So this is interesting. As most everyone knows, the hatred that U.S. officials have for Julian Assange has no bounds. For years, they have relentlessly and obsessively done everything they can to destroy, isolate, persecute, prosecute, incarcerate, torture, and hound the guy to death. They have even contemplated assassinating him through their omnipotent, I don't know why I couldn't say that word, dark side, non-reviewable power of assassination, a power that the U.S. national security establishment wields and exercises on a regular basis without any interference by the federal judiciary or the Congress. Why do they hate Assange so much? Because he disclosed to the American people dark side secrets of the U.S. national security establishment and a national security state form of governmental structure. This is among the gravest offenses that a person can ever commit. Consider, for example, a certain cable that Assange's organization WikiLeaks revealed to the world. The cable was sent in 2009, 13 years ago, by William James J. Burns, the U.S. ambassador to Russia. It stated in part, NATO enlargement, particularly to Ukraine, remains, quote, an emotional and neurologic? I don't know. Sorry, guys. End quote. Issue for Russia, but strategic policy considerations also underlie strong opposition to NATO membership for Ukraine and Georgia. In Ukraine, these include fears that the issue could potentially split the country in two, leading to violence or even some claim civil war, which would force Russia to decide whether to intervene. Additionally, the GOR and experts continue to claim that Ukrainian NATO memberships would have major impact on Russia's defense industry, Russian-Ukrainian family connections, and bilateral relations generally. During his annual review of Russia's foreign policy, January 22nd through the 23rd, Foreign Minister Lavrov stressed that Russia had to view continued eastward expansion of NATO, particularly to Ukraine and Georgia, as a potential military threat. While Russia might believe statements from the West that NATO was not directed against Russia, when one looked at recent military activities in NATO countries, establishment of U.S. forward operating locations, etc., they had to be evaluated not by stated intentions, but by potential. While Russian opposition to the first round of NATO enlargement in the mid-1990s was strong, Russia now feels itself able to respond more forcefully to what it perceives as actions contrary to its national interests. Now, keep in mind something important. U.S. Ambassador Burns became CIA director on March 19th, 2021. Why is that important? Because Burns has been the director of the CIA for almost a year, before Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In other words, Burns' cable constitutes conclusive proof that the Pentagon and the CIA knew with absolute certainty what Russia's response would be if they threatened to have NATO absorb Ukraine. As I and others have pointed out, by threatening to absorb NATO, the Pentagon and the CIA knowingly, intentionally, and deliberately cornered Russia into making an untenable choice. One, permit Ukraine to join NATO, which would thereby enable the Pentagon and the CIA to install military bases, missiles, tanks, troops, and other weaponry on Russia's border. Or two, invade Ukraine to prevent that from happening. And then there's a couple articles that you can check out here. Do you see why they hate Assange so much? Do you see why they have gone after him so viciously? If WikiLeaks had not revealed Burns' cable, the Pentagon and the CIA could have acted innocent and labeled anyone who outlined their strategy as a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist. The disclosure of Burns' cable foreclosed that possibility and revealed as an absolute certainty that both the Pentagon and the CIA knew that Russia, when placed in the corner in which the Pentagon and the CIA maneuvered it, would choose to invade Ukraine rather than permit the Pentagon and the CIA to install their military bases, missiles, tanks, troops, and other weaponry on Russia's border. I ask you a simple question. Which is more evil, Russia's invasion of Ukraine or the Pentagon and the Pentagon's and CIA's political gamesmanship that brought about Russia's invasion of Ukraine? After all, at the risk of stating the obvious, simply because Russia's invasion of Ukraine is evil doesn't convert the Pentagon and the CIA's strategy to induce Russia to invade Ukraine into something good. Despite the evil of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Pentagon and the CIA's political gamesmanship that produced Russia's invasion of Ukraine remains evil as well and is possibly even more evil. Yes, I would say so. Notice something important about the U.S. mainstream press. They focus exclusively on the evil of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. They don't even mention the evil of the Pentagon or the CIA's political gamesmanship that brought about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Why is that? The Pentagon and the CIA have lots of assets within the mainstream press. Holy balls, do they ever?
I mean,
you guys.
I don't know who isn't a CIA.
They're all spooks. All of them are on. They're all of them. You're right. I don't know that there is a single person on mainstream media who is not linked into the intelligence community somehow, at all, which is scary.
Yeah.
Anyone who honestly thinks that the CIA abandoned its Operation Mockingbird program after it became public is suffering from extreme naivete. Yeah. Why would the CIA abandon a program in which mainstream journalists are available to spout the national security establishment's propaganda whenever called upon to do so? But what about American status, especially those who are expressing outrage over Russia's invasion of Ukraine? Why aren't they as outraged over the Pentagon's and the CIA's political maneuvering as they are at Russia's invasion of Ukraine? They too are focusing exclusively on Russia's invasion of Ukraine with no focus whatsoever on the evil or the role that the Pentagon and the CIA have played in producing Russia's invasion of Ukraine. After all, the condemnation of both events are not mutually exclusive. One can easily condemn both. See, for example, Andrew, I'm not even going to try. Basevich. Excellent article. You guys can check that out if you want. The answer lies in the extreme refusal of American status to criticize or condemn the U.S. national security establishment. The Pentagon, the CIA, and the NSA, which are the three principal components of the U.S. national security establishment, are a triune God to American status, no different from the triune God that American Christians worship on Sundays. That's why, for example, American status cheered when the Pentagon and the CIA were doing to the people of Iraq and Afghanistan the same thing that Russia is doing to the people of Ukraine. After all, for the past several years or even months, there could have been massive protests by American status against how the Pentagon and the CIA were using NATO to intentionally, knowingly, and deliberately bring about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Those protests could have conceivably pressured the Pentagon and the CIA to direct President Biden to publicly forswear NATO's absorption of Ukraine. If Biden had just made that simple announcement, there never would have been a Russian invasion of Ukraine, and all those dead Russian soldiers and Ukrainian people would still be alive today. But as we all know, no such protests ever took place. Given the unswerving devotion to their political triune God, American status could not even conceive of going down what to them would have been an quote-unquote unpatriotic road, a road that entailed open opposition to their triune political God. That's undoubtedly the big reason for the silence that characterizes American status today toward what the Pentagon and the CIA's political gamemanship toward Russia has wrought for the people of Ukraine. It's worth mentioning the outcome of the Pentagon and the CIA's political gamemanship. Massive death and destruction in Ukraine, a new and old official enemy for the U.S. that is now garnering the ire of the rest of the world, a massive rallying to the Pentagon and the CIA, possibly even more so than during the Cold War or after the 9/11 attacks, unlimited tax-funded largesse flooding into the coffers of the Pentagon, the CIA, and the NSA, and their ever-growing army of quote-unquote defense contractors, ever-growing omnipotent power of the national security establishment within America's federal governmental structure, ever more federal spending, debt, and inflation, the ever-expanding destruction of the rights and liberties of the American people, greater possibility of all-out nuclear war between Russia and the United States. But at least the Pentagon and the CIA's deadly, vicious, and destructive gamemanship is there for all who care to see it. Is it any wonder why they hate Julian Assange? And that is why they hate Julian Assange.
Can you go back? There was I think it was like towards the middle. It was talking about how in Ukraine they could like have military bases and things of that nature. They had a list of things. It was towards the middle. Keep going, I think. Yeah, keep going.
Oh, right here. Install their military bases, missiles, tanks, troops, and other weaponry on Russia's border.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, do you remember? This was probably a day or two ago now. There was information leaked about Ukraine's targets, or I'm sorry, Russia's targets in Ukraine were these biolabs, these U.S. biolabs in Ukraine, and there was a boatload of them. So I don't know who these decision. Obviously, I do know who these decision makers are. They're maniacs, but these maniacs who are deciding you can have any number of biolabs inside of a nation without the NATO whatever, but you can't have tanks and missiles. But then we're kind of learning very quickly over the course of the last couple of years or so that these biolabs probably aren't so great to have in foreign nations either, or your own nation for that matter, you know?
Yeah. That's a whole other ball of wax.
Right? Yeah.
That is really a whole other ball of wax. But yeah, I mean, this, I just thought that this article just brought up this is just one of many reasons why they hate Julian Assange. You know, Julian Assange exposed a lot of their dirty secrets. A lot. I mean, Vault 7 alone was the largest CIA leak in history and exposed so much about what they're capable of. So yeah, there's, you know, people try to pretend like, you know, Julian Assange is some evil, I love when they call him a traitor. It's my favorite. It's my fucking favorite ever is when they call him a traitor. He's not American. But yeah, it's this is why they hate him. It's
very Patricia Arquette-esque of them to say he's a traitor.
It's my favorite. Seriously.
Yeah.
It is. Every time, and it never fails. Every time I get into some, you know, conversation with some random troll, it almost inevitably happens where he's a traitor, and I'm like, really? Really? Is he now?
For which country?
Yeah. How exactly does that work? Could you explain? I mean, I realize that, as Caitlin Johnson says, Australia is the United States basement gimp, but I still don't think that qualifies him as a traitor. Pretty sure. So yeah, but this is why they hate Julian Assange. They hate Julian Assange because he pulled back the veil and exposed all of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And if we had taken him seriously and supported him in real time, and made noise about the leaks as they were happening, rather than letting him be smeared, defamed, and persecuted, the world would be a very different place right now.
For sure.
And that's why I talk about that all the time, that it would be really cool if we could figure out as a species how to recognize and support our truth tellers in real time instead of decades later. Because Daniel Ellsberg was reviled at the time. Nobody liked him. They thought he was a traitor. And now he's a celebrated whistleblower. Everybody thinks he's, you know, great. And same with Edward Snowden. The narrative is starting to shift on Edward Snowden. A lot of people still think that he's a traitor and that he should blah, blah, blah. But most people have a favorable opinion of Edward Snowden.
Missy, he's a hacker. He's a hacker.
Who is Snowden or Assange?
Yeah, no, don't you remember that's what Obama said about Snowden?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And people say that about Julian Assange too. And Julian Assange was a hacker in his youth. In fact, he used his hacking skills to take down a child pedophilia ring. Just saying.
Now you're walking into QAnon territory with that.
Why? It's real. That happened. It's not QAnon.
Oh, I know. No, I know. I'm being devil's advocate over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, he really did do that. But yeah, I mean, he has. There's no question he has the intelligence to be a hacker, but that was not ever his position or whatever in WikiLeaks. He was a publisher. He was the editor-in-chief and the publisher of WikiLeaks. So I just thought this article was great and kind of peeling back some of the vitriol against Julian Assange from the higher levels of government. I mean, the CIA hates him, the Pentagon hates him, the NSA hates him. They all hate him because he has exposed their bullshit repeatedly over and embarrassed them. That's crucial. That is really, I think, what pushed it over the edge. I think Vault 7 is what pushed it over the edge. I think that they were happy to let him sit in the Ecuadorian embassy as long as he kept quiet. But in 2017, when he published Vault 7 and embarrassed the fuck out of the CIA, I think that was it. Game over. They were going to go full force after him after that. And I think that Julian Assange knew that, which is, I don't like lionize Julian Assange. He is still just a human being. But I have to tell you that if I'm Julian Assange and I'm already, I think it was like 5 years into illegal and arbitrary detention in the Ecuadorian embassy by the time 2017 rolled around. If I'm that guy, and I know already that I'm public enemy number one of the world's largest empire and all of their intelligence agencies, I'm not sure I have the balls to publish Vault 7. I don't think I do. I would like to think that I do, but I don't think that I do.
No,
that's crazy.
There was 1,000 lines he crossed before you got to that point where I would have dipped.
Yeah. Real talk. I don't know that I would have published anything that he's published, to be honest with you. And to invoke the ire of the United States government and all of their crazy, shadowy intelligence goons. I don't know if I got that kind of courage, y'all. Again, I'd like to think I do. I don't. If I'm being honest with y'all, I don't think I do. And so to be Julian Assange and for it to be 2017 and you're publishing Vault 7, oh, that's another level of spine. I don't know that I have that kind of spine. And that's why I have so much respect for Julian Assange, because he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to publish Vault 7. He didn't have to publish any of the things that he published. And I also think that he knew what was coming, because in 2010, right before he released Cablegate, there's that famous quote. I'll pull it up so I don't butcher it.
And speaking of like immense amount of courage too, like I whenever somebody brings up Chelsea Manning, I'm like, that's an insane amount of courage that I never had when I was,
not only courage, but her sticking to her principles, because when she was being tortured the second time, when they rearrested her, the reason they did that is because they were trying to get her to roll over on Julian Assange, and she refused to participate in that.
Correct. And
based on principle, not necessarily because I think she supported Julian Assange, but based on principle of the what's it called? The court thing. Fuck, my brain just stopped working entirely. I don't remember whatever the process was. Somebody in the chat tell me, because it's gonna hurt my head. But yeah, what?
The contempt shit?
No, God damn it. It's like right in my head, and every time I like think it's coming out, it stops. Hold on.
Hold on.
Oh, it is hurting my head though. Come on. It's hurting me. It is hurting me. The fuck me.
Perjury trap?
No.
Grand jury?
Yes. Okay. The grand jury. Yes.
Esseline gets a star for the day. She nailed
Thank you. Yes. That was hurting my head so bad. It was right there. Do you know how when that happens? When it's like, that's the worst. Okay, so the quote from Julian Assange, this is from 2010, right before he published Cablegate. He said, quote, "They will chase me to the ends of the earth. They will make my life hell, but it is my obligation to make sure that the public sees this information," end quote. I don't think I have that kind of balls.
No. I don't. Like I said, he did 1,000 things before I would have already had checked out.
Yeah. I just don't have that kind of courage.
And same with Chelsea Manning, like to go and to be in prison the way she was twice.
Yeah, she knew it was coming.
I would have made it through the first time. you know?
No.
So,
I mean, that was like, I think it was like 7 years the first time she was in there being tortured. And I'm talking like real torture, like legit torture. And then to be rearrested and know what's coming
right.
and to refuse to participate in their charade. I mean, I don't think I have that.
No one had, no one I know could endure that. And I know some pretty strong people.
I'm pretty strong. Like, I think I'm a pretty strong person. I can deal with a lot of
Yeah.
shit. I can handle a lot of shit. I don't know that I have the courage to take on the United States empire.
No.
That's scary shit.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, too many tabs. Hold on. Hold, please. Okay, that's Patricia Arquette. We can get rid of that.
Yes.
Okay, let's do the Belmarsh Tribunal. So this is Chris Hedges' speech from the Belmarsh Tribunal that recently took place on the 25th of February. I have not had a chance to watch. I've seen like a couple different clips. I haven't had a chance. I want to watch the whole thing. So this will be my first time seeing the speech too, but it's Hedges, so I wanted to share it. I read the transcript of it, and it was it's excellent. Obviously, it's excellently written. He's brilliant. Oh, okay, yeah, audio's on. Okay, here we go. Did that come up okay, Eric?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. We know what Julian did. We know the great public service he provided. We know that he and WikiLeaks, aided by courageous figures such as Chelsea Manning, gave us the most important journalistic coup of our generation, ripping back the veil erected by the ruling political, military, and financial elites to expose their mendacity, their corruption, and their crimes. We know that populations around the world, from Haiti to Tunisia, were empowered by this information to hold these elites accountable. Today, I want us to reflect on Julian himself. For Julian, endowed with precocious skills, could easily have been someone else. He could have sold his talents to Silicon Valley, to Wall Street, or to intelligence and surveillance agencies who would have paid handsomely. He could have built a lucrative career, one where he was financially secure, perhaps wealthy. He could have obtained the possessions we are told in our consumer society we should aspire to: an opulent house, luxury cars, financial security, fine clothes, and the status that comes with material acquisition and advancement within the structures of power. No worries, no controversy, no persecution. But to follow this route, a route many have followed, would have required Julian to surrender his integrity and his dignity. It would have required him to forsake justice and freedom, to suppress and control the aspirations of the vast majority locked outside the golden gates of privilege and power. It would have placed him within the interlocking systems designed by the ruling elites to concentrate privilege, wealth, and power among themselves. It would have required Julian to become a cog in the mega machine, to play a part in constructing our corporate totalitarianism. Julian chose not to do this. He turned away from the siren call of success, at least as it is defined by the powerful. He set out on the difficult road taken by all who fight the oppressor on behalf of the oppressed. A life of meaning is a life of confrontation. When you resist radical evil, you jeopardize your career, your reputation, your financial solvency, and at times, your life. It is to be a lifelong heretic. When you stand with the oppressed, the crucified of the earth, then you are treated like the oppressed. You too are crucified. And that is what is happening to Julian. Those that care the most are targeted and killed by those who care the least. Prometheus, in defiance of divine prohibition, gave fire to humankind, making possible knowledge, art, science, technology, and civilization. For his empowerment of mortals, the gods sentenced Prometheus to eternal torment. He was bound to a rock, and an eagle, the emblem of Zeus, the emblem of power, ate out his liver by day. At night, his liver grew back. The next morning, it would be painfully torn out again in a never-ending cycle. Julian's story is the modern version of this ancient myth. For Julian gave us knowledge, and with that knowledge, he gave us power. For this act of defiance, he will never be forgiven by those he exposed. Albert Camus writes that one of the only coherent philosophical positions is revolt. It is a constant confrontation between man and his obscurity. It is not aspiration, for it is devoid of hope. That revolt is the certainty of a crushing fate, without the resignation that ought to accompany it. A living man can be enslaved and reduced to the historic condition of an object, Camus warned. But if he dies in refusing to be enslaved, he reaffirms the existence of another kind of human nature, which refuses to be classified as an object. Julian affirms the existence of another kind of human nature. He refuses to be classified as an object. His example calls upon us to confront radical evil no matter the cost. To stand with Julian is to stand with yourself. To abandon Julian is to abandon yourself. And if you abandon yourself, your life becomes a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Oh.
Like I obviously can't get into the head of Assange, wondering like what's going through his head when he's in the beginning stages of WikiLeaks and whatnot. But well, my point is like he had to understand that there was that fork in the road that he was kind of alluding to, which was you can either go to this direction where it's just full of like luxury and fine clothes, fine food, and expensive cars and houses and all that stuff. If you go on the side of evil, or your choice is where he's at now, right? And there really is no in between. It's either you choose this or you choose this, and those are your options, right? And it just goes to show just kind of just truly who he is as a person.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, we aren't in those positions, but I don't know what I would choose. I don't obviously like being tortured for a decade.
No.
Right. And obviously I like the nice things in life. So like, it just goes to show so much, like just the quality
of character.
Of a person. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right. That's hard. Like that temptation is really, and he is brilliant. He could have easily sold out to big tech, to Silicon Valley, to an intelligence agency. Easily. They would have loved to have him. Are you joking? They would have loved to. He is brilliant. So he could have easily done that. And it was a choice not to. And I think that we see these people throughout history. I mean, we see I think Chris Hedges is one. I mean, he had a very cushy job at the New York Times, and they told him to shut the fuck up about the war, and he told him to fuck off, and he went and did his own thing. You know, somebody like Daniel Ellsberg, who, you know, could have just continued on with his career and not done anything, not said anything, and refused to do that, and just, you know, and did the right thing. I think we see those people throughout history, and it's they're rare, but hella inspiring. Again, I don't know if I'm that. I've never been in that position where I've, you know, had that decision to make. I would like to think I have that kind of character, but that's a difficult thing to turn down. That kind of temptation to be, I mean, I guess I've kind of, I mean, not on that scale, obviously, but like, I don't, none of my channels are monetized. I don't take any money, you know what I mean? Like I've kind of, I've tried to kind of do that, I guess, in a way. But to be on that level and be able to turn it down,
right?
I don't know. That's tough.
There's been moments in my life where I've kind of had the taste of luxury and never had it like full on.
Yeah.
Like, because I interned at a sports talk radio station, and I worked behind the scenes, and got to. I work at the Timberwolves games here in Minneapolis, and I had access to all these places that no one else had access to. And I would have dinner with the owner and all these other media types. And then I would sit in the press area and rub elbows with people I had no business for not rubbing elbows with. And then I was interviewing NBA stars after the game. Right. And I'm just like, I'm having a taste of what this kind of whole experience is like.
Yeah.
And it's intoxicating.
It can be.
It really is. It really is, because it's just like, wow, I'm like here. I don't belong here. I never felt like I really did, right? But like I got like a little taste here and there by experiencing some of that stuff, And it does, man. It's like it changes. It literally changes you as a person.
It does. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I would have the strength of will to walk away from that and to walk away from that opportunity, if presented with it. Again, I've never been presented with that kind of opportunity to like sell myself out or whatever. I would really hope that I could avoid doing that. I would really, but I don't know. And I certainly don't know if I could avoid doing that while also choosing to take on the United States Empire.
Those are your options.
Your two choices are go get filthy rich, have a huge house and lots of chicks and fancy food and a fast car and all that stuff. Or I can go
or get tortured at Belmarsh.
Right. I mean, that I'm pretty sure most people, 99.9% of the people
would not do what Julian's doing.
No. And that's why I have so much respect for who he is, what he's done. And he revolutionized journalism. I mean, he completely changed the game. Completely. And he's broken more stories than all other journalists combined, I think. I mean, I think that that's pretty safe to say. Because honestly, stories will be broken from WikiLeaks releases for decades to come. Like, there's stuff in WikiLeaks that doesn't make sense right now, but 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, we're going to look back and be like, oh yeah, that guy was connected to that guy and they had a conversation about this thing and they sold money. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be, that's going to happen for a very long time. We're going to still be getting stories out of WikiLeaks releases. So yeah, that was a great speech by Chris Hedges. I didn't expect anything else. Hedges is fantastic. Like I said, I read the transcript of that on SheerPost, which Hedges writes for. I'll put the transcript, the link to the transcript in the chat for everybody. So if you guys want to go and read that, you can. And then I'll also post I just clicked out of it, but I'll go back. The Belmarsh Tribunal was held by, Progressive International. Helps if I spell it right. Oh my God, helps if I spell it right. Can't type tonight. I'm sorry. Progressive International. So I had shared it from the People's Forum, which is, I think, where they hosted it. I'm going to post that one because it's longer. So that's the full experience, I think. So this is the link for the Belmarsh Tribunal. So there were a lot of amazing speakers. There were some speakers there that I didn't think should be there. Jeremy Scahill. But that's just me. That's just me. That's all right. It's okay. I just have a hard time giving somebody like that a platform on something like this when they're responsible for burning sources. I don't like it. Not a fan. Okay, so we can click out of that now. What's this? Oh, okay. So, don't need that anymore. What's this? Don't need that anymore. Already did that. We already did that. Ooh, okay. We're almost done with all the stuff I had. Okay, so the last thing I have for you guys is Stella Moore's accepting an award on behalf of Julian at the Austrian, of course not the Australian, but the Austrian Journalists Club. So she accepted an award on his behalf recently, and this is the speech that she gave. Share audio. Okay, so this is from the DEA campaign, the Don't Extradite Assange campaign. That's just, I mean, there's multiple people who have posted this video, but that's just who I happen to. I don't know if this is the full thing or if I need to go on to the. No, I think this is the full thing. Okay, stop. Well, how does does anybody know why do they have the ability to post a 4-minute video and I can't? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Do they have to pay for that?
I'm totally baffled by that.
Like some people do they have a blue check? They don't have a blue check. Like, is that something? I bet they have to pay for it. I'm not paying for Twitter. Fuck off. Not paying for Twitter. I'm just curious because, I get mad when I have to limit things to 2 minutes and 20 seconds or whatever it is. Okay. Did that come up okay on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
I want to say a few words about what we think is unthinkable. In 2010, many people said it was unthinkable.
It's a little quiet.
The U.S. would prosecute Julian, or try to extradite him, or try to put him in prison for the rest of his life.
Yep.
In 2010, they said it was unthinkable that the U.S. would seriously engage in concrete plans to assassinate Julian. In 2010, many would say it was unthinkable that the UK and the US would collude to inflict psychological torture on a journalist and subject him to arbitrary detention for over a decade or the rest of his life because of what he published. And yet, here we are. We know that the Obama administration from the beginning was seriously considering charging Julian, but refrained because the Obama administration recognized that to do so would criminalize investigative journalism, would attack the press, would do away with press freedom. The recognition was that to prosecute Julian, the US would have to prosecute him as a publisher, as a journalist. The Obama administration commuted Chelsea Manning's sentence, who was the source of the publications. And then the Trump administration decided that actually journalists and publishers are fair game. And so he proceeded to prosecute Julian, not as a whistleblower, as a journalist, and setting that precedent. Not as a US journalist, as a foreign journalist, publishing from abroad, setting a new global standard. Think about what that means. The US is extending its so-called Espionage Act beyond its borders to limit press freedom abroad. It's creating a new normal, a race to the bottom, an opportunity for authoritarians everywhere to use the same logic against their journalists and foreign journalists who dare expose their war crimes. there is no safe place for journalists as long as Julian is in prison. In 2010, many said that the possibility of Julian being assassinated by the United States was some kind of paranoid fantasy, but not for Mike Pompeo. For Mike Pompeo, this was a high priority. The assassination of Julian was discussed at the highest levels of the Trump administration. And not just Julian, other unnamed WikiLeaks associates in Europe, in European countries, were also being considered for assassination, according to an investigative report published in September. That report had over 30 sources from the National Security Council of the United States, both named and unnamed, from the CIA and from the White House, the Trump White House. And when it was published, Mike Pompeo confirmed the story by calling for the sources to be prosecuted. There is nothing that is unthinkable anymore. There is no freedom of press, and there is no freedom of conscience as long as Julian is imprisoned. The unthinkable is here. The unthinkable is now. Free Julian, and may peace return to Europe and to every country suffering the scourge of war. Thank you.
Oh, Stella always gets me in my feels, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I can't not think about the boys.
Right.
You know, those babies need their dad. You know,
Yeah.
they do. They need their dad. They deserve to have their dad. He deserves to have them. This is bullshit. It's bullshit, you guys. It's absolute bullshit. And I was talking earlier today, like I said, I was on Rick Munn's show, and he was asking about Julian Assange and Daniel Hale and some other things too. But we need to, I think, reinvigorate the push for bail. I realize that that's not the perfect situation. Obviously, we want the charges to be dropped. He needs to be completely exonerated, all charges gone, home with his family, period, done, right? But he's dying. And so at this point, if we're going to be forced into this ridiculous appeal process, which will drag on forever and ever and ever intentionally, maybe we need to reinvigorate the push for bail and for house arrest or something while this process plays itself out. Because right now he's not getting adequate medical care. We know that. He's had too many strokes. He has an underlying lung condition. Every time there's a COVID outbreak, they shove all of the positive patients into his, forget what it's called again, the ward, the wing, the cell block, whatever the fuck. Yeah. They have a different term for it, but I forget what it is. I always forget what it is. But yeah, they're yes, thank you. That's it. Sleepy Josh to the rescue.
Why isn't he always here?
Yeah, I know. Tell him, Eric. Tell him. Tell him.
That's jokes.
No, he taught me how to do tech stuff, and now he doesn't come around much anymore. And so it's like, I wish I had learned tech stuff. I don't really know any tech stuff.
I'm just busy. I'm so busy.
Push buttons. You are busy. And to be fair, he is doing incredibly important work, making sure that we are off of centralized platforms. So it's okay. You're excused, Sleepy Josh. I get it. But I do miss you when you're not here. I'm not going to lie. Esteline says, Misty Coy, did you see or hear Glory? I think you mean Slow News Day's comments about how the sheer post event, wondering why no one could get a message from Julian to be read at the event. I don't know. Are you talking about the Belmarsh Tribunal? Okay, so here's the thing. We'll talk about it. I vacillate between how to go about these conversations, but fuck it, I don't care. I would like to hear from Julian Assange, period, end of story. I realize that he is in a precarious situation, and that he is limited on his ability to communicate with the outside world. I understand all of that. But when supporters have asked for years for word from him, about how he's doing, if he's doing okay, if, you know, whatever. And the best we can get is an advertisement for an app.
Oh yeah, that whole WikiLeaks post that was super
weird,
sketch.
really weird. I mean, it's not. I won't say that it's not like Julian Assange to say something. I mean, he's interested in all of that stuff, the tech, the apps, the communication aspect of war and all of that stuff, making sure people have the ability to communicate. That all checks out. I get that. But seriously, between like just myself and my friend Kaylee, you guys know how annoying I am, right? Like Kaylee is just, no offense, Kaylee, if you're watching, I love you. You know I do. But she's just as annoying as I am. We are very persistent. We email Belmarsh all the time. We tweet about it all the time. We want to hear from Julian Assange. I've never received a letter back from Julian Assange. I only know of one human being, and that's Gordon Demick. Actually, I know of two, because I think Truman got some in 2019 that he published like a piece of. But there hasn't been a lot of letters that have gone out from Julian Assange, and he is in really horrendous conditions. He's been subjected to psychological torture for over a decade. The conditions he's being held in now are atrocious. They don't have proper heating, so he has to insulate his windows with books. He wasn't given his winter clothes. He has very limited contact with his friends and family. He isn't able to participate in his legal defense because he can't meet with his lawyers. They gave him a laptop with the keys glued down. They didn't replace his reading glasses. It's a whole host of stuff that he has to go through. And I worry about his physical and mental safety. And I don't think it's unreasonable for us to want to hear from from Julian Assange, to make sure that he is okay. Because I don't trust anybody. No. Nobody. I trust no one. And so I just would like to hear from Julian Assange. I don't know why nobody was able to get a statement from Julian Assange for the Belmarsh Tribunal. It seems weird. There were a lot of very connected people at that event. So that does seem very strange to me that they weren't able to get at least just a statement. And that's another thing that bothered me about the app advertisement, because I do know that he has to be very careful about what he says. If he is extradited to the United States, it is stipulated in the assurances from the United States government that he will not be put under special administrative measures unless he says or does something that they deem to be a threat to national security or whatever.
Which could be literally anything.
Which could be literally anything, including the app for the fucking, or the ad for the fucking app. That could be construed as him, involving himself in geopolitical matters and national security matters and so it's like, wait a minute, we've been asking just for word that from him that he's okay, that he's, he wants us to keep fighting, or that he appreciates whatever, just some word from him. And what we get is some weird ad for an app that is, I don't know. I am just a very, 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 very suspicious person when it comes to stuff like this. You can't trust people. No one. I don't trust anyone. And I don't think it's unreasonable for supporters to be suspicious of that, and to be suspicious of other tweets that have come out from the WikiLeaks account, and to be skeptical of the people that have latched themselves onto this case. Some of them, I'm sure their intentions are good and in the right place. In fact, I know that some of them are. Other people are looking to make a career off of this, or looking to make a name off of this. And so I think it's my job as a supporter of Julian Assange to be hyper vigilant and to be suspicious of everybody. And I am. And I won't apologize for that. A lot of people get mad at me for bringing it up, say I'm causing division, I'm causing drama. Be mad. I'm going to ask questions. That's part of what we're doing here, is just trying to make sure that we're getting legitimate information, truthful information, and protecting him, the best that we can. So yeah, I make no apologies for being skeptical of that. I don't know if that answered your question, because I just kind of went off there for a minute, but yeah, I don't know why they couldn't get a message from Julian Assange. It is a little weird. Eric, what do you think? She wants to know what you think too.
I have no idea. The only thing I was thinking when you were talking about all that is like, because I'm super skeptical about any of this stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And my mind likes to wander off into some kind of weird territories. However, there is no denying that they can essentially AI Julian Assange to make it look like, you know, he was speaking to the public. I mean, I don't know. I've seen those AI like Tom Cruise videos that I've seen.
Yeah,
posted.
those are weird. Did you see the Bill? What's his name? Bill Hader, the comedian guy.
Bill Hader.
Hader, is that it?
One.
I don't. Okay, so it's him, and he's doing an impression of Tom Cruise, and then it like switches to Tom Cruise's face, and it's very seamless. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it. It's creepy.
But that's just the thing. Is like when I don't know what to trust anymore, video wise at all. You know, like when you see that. And you see how well it's done. Yeah. And they got the mannerisms and the face looks perfect.
Okay, wait, here it is. Are you ready for this? Because seriously, this is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen because it just shifts back and forth from face to face.
I don't even know if I want to see this.
I
do, but I don't.
You do, but you don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh, God. Is that up okay on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
You're muted, though. I don't know if there's sound.
Oh, there is sound. Fuck me. God damn it. I hate it when I do that. Share system audio. That's better. Sorry, guys. I do that all the time. You're good. Okay, here we go.
It's still muted.
Why the fuck is it muted?
It seemed like every movie I saw in the last several months, you were in it, and good for you. That's just
thanks, buddy. Thanks.
And I was wondering about the one, the Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
Tom Cruise. You're working with Tom Cruise. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. Like we got to dance together. That was amazing. We had like, you know, when you do a movie, you do table reads, you know, where like all the actors get together.
Or at the beginning of the
beginning, before anything, you get together and you read through the script. And so it's like, you know, all these heavyweights, like, you know, Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., everybody. And at the end is like me, like, you know, like, hey. Just happy to be here, guys. You know, like, and some other supporting guys, and then Tom Cruise walks in, and
Jesus!
Did you just see that?
Super stuff.
Oh my God! It gives me the goose.
Oh, boom! You know, like he's like,
wow.
He's just immediately excited when he walks into a room. And so he comes over and he sits next to me, and I think he had been briefed on some of the supporting guys, but he was like trying to place me, you know. So he sat down next to me. And he's like,
Did you see that?
Yes.
Seamless.
I love your work. And I went, oh, thanks. I love your work too, Tom Cruise. You know, like, thanks. And
okay, you don't have to watch more. It's creeping me out.
I don't know.
Yeah. Told ya.
Why?
Told you.
Why?
Resist that shit like a motherfucker, people.
Please resist that. Please.
Quit giving all your fucking pictures to these weird like apps and shit. You're training their models, dude. Like? Stop it. Yeah. Stop it. Stop giving them free data.
Yes. Yes.
Just saying.
Don't let your kids use the
my rant for the night.
Yeah. That's not a rant. That was weak sauce, Sleepy Josh.
Well, it's
that
a little
was like
rant,
two sentences. I guess that's a Sleepy Josh rant. You're very concise and to the point.
True. It's true.
I'm a ranter. Oh man. When I went on Nick's show, because he's a ranter too, holy balls. It was like a rant festival. It's fun. Those are my people. Ranters are my people.
You know, I
isn't that terrifying?
It's terrifying. I accidentally stumbled upon Kaczynski's manifesto a number of years ago, and because I literally knew nothing about the guy, and I'm like, what? You know, because I was beginning. It was kind of like my beginning stages of like trying to uncover all this crap, and I was like, you know, there's so many people that have been demonized throughout my life, and I only know this story that I was told, you know, when I was younger, right? And I read his manifesto and I was like, I'm in 100% agreement with this guy. And a bulk of it was this, how technology is kind of the end of humanity.
Yeah.
Essentially. And I mean, he goes off into some pretty brilliant, you know.
I mean,
takes himself.
He is brilliant.
He is.
I mean,
he
there's
is literally
no denying
brilliant.
that. And they fucked him up. They MK
they
Ultra'd that dude.
They MK Ultra'd him
They
at fucking Harvard.
Up. Yeah.
And like, I mean, this is just yet another thing where it's just like, oh, look how cute this is, where they can, you know, change a guy's face like seamlessly. And it's like, no, do you have any idea what kind of evil could be behind this?
I mean, the State of the Union address with Joe Biden, that maybe wasn't Joe Biden. You know, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that that's an example. Like they could 100% accomplish that kind of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying?
If you don't think that they wouldn't, I mean, they have him sit on a stage with like a White House backdrop behind him to make it look like he's like sitting behind the desk at, you know, Oval Office or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're already doing a version of, it's not that, but it's a version of that where it's like the fakeness is already surrounding him when he's giving in some sort of like address.
And anybody that thinks that they won't do something, y'all, you cannot put anything past these people. They will do anything. Like
they
the
blow
worst
up people
thing
for
you
money.
could think of. Yes, the worst thing you could think of. Multiply that by 100, and you're still not even close to the end of their limits. Yeah,
I mean, they blow up people for money.
Oz, Joe Biden is a triumph of modern taxidermy.
A taxidermist is.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
That is fantastic.
Especially after I saw like kind of like a it was like a collection of really bad taxidermy.
Yeah.
And it was
I wouldn't know the difference between good taxidermy or bad taxidermy.
No, it's out there.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's some creepy shit though. This shit is creepy. It's coming for us all. And we need to, like Sleepy Josh said, resist the fuck out of this, please. All of this stuff, the digital currency, the facial recognition, the surveillance, the censorship, all of this stuff. We have to resist this stuff. Like out loud, full on. I mean, we're going to have to get like dirty. We're going to have to. What
was it? There was like a public school in, I think it was Indiana, if I remember right. It was a few years ago where they didn't inform the parents at all. And they were doing a retina scan of the kids getting on the bus.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, I would fuck somebody up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. If my kid comes home and is like, yeah, they were scanning my eyeball today on the way to school, I would fuck somebody up.
Yeah. People are going, heads are rolling for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, people are going to be losing jobs. Like I'm going to the media. I'm going to go ape shit on some people. Yeah.
It was Indiana. I'm pretty sure it was Indiana, but I had, you know, this was years ago that I read this. Anyway.
My cats are going fucking crazy again. Oh, dear Lord. Okay, so that's all I have for everybody, I think. DC, April 10th and 11th in the damn wars, free Assange. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun. Please come if you're able to make it. It's I'm still trying to work on speakers and stuff and nailing down everybody because it's still kind of a little ways out. People don't have like solidified schedules yet, but I have some soft yeses of people that will be there. Some really cool people are going to be showing up. I would love to meet everybody, show up, hang out. Eric, you're going to be there, right?
Offline, can we talk about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Eric is tentatively going to be there. Nico, I think, is coming. Convo's coming. I think Steve's coming. Glory's coming. Kimber, Beth, Daniel, you know, the usual crew. I don't think Magnus can make it. I think he had work shit, which is bullshit. It's bullshit. Because Magnus on a scoot is fun. He likes those little scooters. Those are fun.
I like him
and
hoodie,
Andrew.
in a hoodie on the scooter with with the Guy Fawkes mask on top of his head.
You can't really see it. He's a really gifted artist, and he painted a Guy Fawkes mask. It's green, and then it has like the WikiLeaks hourglass on the side. It's one of the dopest presents I've ever gotten. It's so cool. but yeah, I don't know. I think Magnus is not going to be able to attend this time, but a bunch of cool people are going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So please come hang out with us. We need lots of people in the streets. And it will be the 3-year anniversary of him being kidnapped from the Ecuadorian embassy. So, and also April 5th is the 11th anniversary of collateral murder. I think 11th. I think. So there's a lot of important kind of dates in there. So please show up if you can, April 10th and 11th. We'll have further details about like times and locations as we get closer to it. But it is going to be a lot of fun. Oh, and I did want to also, I think I closed it out. Let me see if I can find it again real quick. If you are in Ohio, like me, there is a protest tomorrow. Where's StreamYard? And this is not like a stand with Ukraine bullshit thing. This is an actual no war, no NATO, no sanctions, no occupations, no war. So there's a protest tomorrow, March 5th, Saturday, corner of North Broadway and High Street at 1 p.m. I'm going to try to go. I don't know if I can because, kids, my husband has to work. My mom's trying to move. It's hard. And I would just take my kids, but my oldest does not like crowds, does not like loud noise. And so that means no protests. So I don't know. I'll have to see if I can finagle a babysitter. I'm really weird about babysitters though. For those of you that don't know, my oldest is autistic. I'm very picky about who I let around her. I like for it to be somebody that knows her, knows how to handle her, knows how to communicate with her, that she's comfortable with. I'm very strange about it. There's like 2 people in the universe other than my husband that I trust to leave my kid with. So, and one of them is moving. The other one's my sister, and I haven't talked to her yet. So I'll have to see if I can get a hold of her. But she's usually busy on the weekends, but I'm going to try. So if you can make it out to Columbus, or if you can find an event near you, standing up against war, standing for press freedom, fighting for healthcare, whatever the fuck it is, we need people in the streets, please and thank you. So do you have anything else, Eric? Do you have anything coming up you want to hype?
I have his name is escaping me. He's part of this Project Got Your Back. He's going to talk to me about like veteran networking connection, that type of thing. I'm going to try to pick his brain a little bit about some other stuff that he may or may not have thought about. So we'll put him on the spot there. And then I had someone else coming on next week. Oh, I have a husband and wife combo. The husband is still in the service. She was only in for 4 years, but they do like kind of a combo. Like she does artwork and he does like spoken word poetry about PTSD and deploying multiple times and stuff like that. So I'm bringing on more vet stuff on my show. Yeah.
Cool. And I'm going to be on sometime.
And you're going to hopefully this week because
I got some. This depends on when. Time. I mean, my schedule's a little, all the time fucked up, crazy. Right. But yeah, I can totally. I think Monday's probably my best day. Maybe. I don't think I have anything Monday.
I can do Monday. Yeah, I can do Monday.
Okay. Yeah. Monday, because I don't think I have anything Monday right now, actually, which is weird. I have stuff Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yes, lots of stuff. Okay, so yeah, again, production meeting. Only thing I have for you guys, I don't like really hyping my own shit. I mean, we just have the vigils Tuesdays and Fridays, usually Tuesdays and Fridays at 9. Sometimes we cheat and take the night off, especially lately, because I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I'm dealing with burnout again. It's been a rough week or two. I have a lot of brain fog, a lot of exhaustion. I'm not sleeping, and I'm sure everybody's going through the same stuff. I just want to let you know where I'm at. So when we dip out on shows, it's not, because we don't care. It's just because I mentally can't. I'm struggling to get myself back in a good place. I honestly probably, here comes Sleepy. Are you going to lecture me?
No. I have something to add when you're done.
Okay. Jesse Jet likes to, you can take a break, I don't feel like I can. I should, but I don't feel like I can, especially right now, trying to plan for DC and all that shit. I know self-care is vital. I know intellectually, I know these things. I do. Okay. So yeah, vigils Tuesdays and Fridays at 9. Free the Truth is Thursdays at 4 with Glory Jones. We just had Nico on yesterday to talk about the RT censorship. bitch on Wednesdays, and then sometimes we have bonus bitches throughout the week, depending on other people's schedules. You guys, I'm on Twitter. Just find me there. Sometimes I remember to tweet my stuff out. If I don't, it's fine. Whatever. I don't care. And I think that's all we have. So thanks, guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks to Sleepy Josh for hanging out.
One sec, y'all. Follow I made a new Odyssey for us because the old one is not syncing properly. So I made a new one tonight. So go follow us there.
I'm gonna drop it in the chat.
We'll be streaming there as well, so it won't just be pulling replays. But yeah, it wasn't pulling all the episodes, so we just made it new. Just easier.
Yeah.
And we will have a full archive up on Misty's site within a week or so. So we'll get links for that for next time.
Yeah. And thanks to Sleepy Josh for that, because he helped us with that. So that is in the chats. The Odyssey link for the new Odyssey is in the chats now. Please go and give us a follow there. You can also follow us on Rockfin. We're trying to migrate as far away from YouTube as humanly possible. I'm super surprised this channel hasn't been, I mean, it's hardcore shadow ban. There's no question about that. I'm really surprised we haven't been fucked with as far as strikes and stuff. But it's coming. I have no doubt about that. So follow us on alternative platforms, because, you know, we're not long for YouTube. I have no doubt that the censorship is only going to escalate. Yeah, fuck YouTube. Yeah, the censorship is only going to escalate even further. So we need to start moving away from these, you know, ridiculous bullshit totalitarian platforms. Fuck YouTube. Okay, and on that note, thanks everybody in the chat. We love you, even the trolls. You're funny. We had a troll. It's this. He's been kind of following me around this week. I appreciate it. I appreciate the views and engagement. It helps us. So thanks for that.
Help. Appreciate
it does. That. Thank you. And he's kind of funny. I really do have dumb trolls though, so it's hard for me to gauge. Because every time somebody's like even the slightest bit clever, I'm like, ooh, smart troll. And it's not usually. Mine are really fucking dumb. It's embarrassing, honestly. I deserve better. Okay, sorry, I'm rambling now. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday, maybe, if we feel like it. We'll see.
We'll see.
Have a good night.